Hello,
Hello, good evening.
good evening.
Ooh.
What a lousy weather.
I think tomorrow's the last day of it. Then it's gonna get nice.
Oh.
It's a bit much. It's cold. I'm cold.
Mm-hmm. Well, it says Monday, but the rain tomorrow is actually tonight at 12 a.m.
Oh,
There's nothing tomorrow.
oh, really? Okay, good.
Mhm.
Hello.
Hello, Abe, how are you?
Hello.
Sam. Good. Tell me,
Enjoying
where are we?
enjoying the
And
weather?
love it. Love it. Yeah.
We're at 111.
No, in the Surba.
Oh, Tsuba's
No,
not tonight.
No, I know, but
Oh, in the
where
Turb,
are
I don't know. I don't know.
the
did we finish?
turba?
Did we finish the volume?
No, no.
No? Okay.
Let me tell you. Next week we start in page 299.
Like on Tuesday.
Yes, on
Two
Tuesday,
nine
I'm sorry. Yeah,
but 299 is the end of it.
299 at the beginning of 299.
Uh-huh.
I don't think we'll finish this week anyhow, the book.
Okay.
And does it only have a number 20, Harold?
I don't think so.
No?
He didn't mix it as far as I know.
Hmm. Hello.
Good evening, everybody.
Hello.
Ernie, a question aside. For the Tsurva, you have the volume 20?
Let me see. No, I have 22,
Yeah,
which
me
was
too.
Harold and Magda's, and I think
Yes.
and I think I gave some of those out. People came and picked those up already.
Yeah, no, I know, but the next one
I don't,
should be
yeah,
20,
I'll
right?
have to order 20.
Okay, all
Yeah,
right.
I'll get them sent to me. It's
Thank you.
Okay.
for
Thank
reminding.
you.
Might as well ask for 21 while you're at it.
Yeah, the last for 21.
Very good.
We're on Kuf Yud Aleph, 111. Rav Papa Omar Bikarvu Nesachim B'Mibor Pligi. The machlokas between Rabbi Lezer and the Tanakama is whether or not the yayin was poured in the midbar, not on the Mishkan. There's a long Rashi here. Tavayu Islu Shir Lamayim. Both the Tanakhama and Rabbi Elazar says you have to have a minimum of 3 lugin. The chimalit felo kachinu kli. And if you put more, the kli really didn't midkadish more. Tanakhama Machayev, the Tanakhama who said that if you pour more than 3 lugin on an atzah mizbeach, you're chayiv kares. Lord boy ben nisachim kedushas kli l'chayvelin. You don't need that the yain or the maim is sanctified in a kli. The ksavar, because he holds kirvan nisachim ba'al mayim shebe midbar kol arba mishana. That when they offered korbanos in the Mishkan and the midbar, they offered wine libations as well. Hilkach, when it says ki savo el haaretz bias haaretz amur b'parshas nesachim b'shlach lecha l'lamdeinu ba shebesheva shel kibush haaretz v'sheva shel chil haaretz. In the first 14 years, when they were conquering and dividing, when the Mishkan was in Gilgal, Kshayu beGilgal, and in those 14 years, hutru abamas, you were allowed to offer korbanos on a private mizbeach. It did not appear Basra. Later on, in the next plot, we'll learn that. That the private bamas in a person's backyard of each person also required wine libations. The mishum bamat sibor lo itzrich lememer bias haaretz. It didn't. There was no chiddush now that when they came into something changed because the Hamin HaMidbar is chayvu b'kaf. There was already chiyuv of wine libations in the midbar. So when it says kisavolo aretz, it's referring to the bamas yachid. And kiva the bamas yachid to in the sachim. So now you're telling me, according to this man de Omar, private bamas in your backyard, you needed wine libations. There is no such thing as a klishares in a private backyard mizbeach. V'hasam klishares leka. Kid Omar b'perek basra b'chutz nami mechayv lebeshas isra bamas below kiddush kli. So even when you're not allowed to offer a korban on an atzah mizbeach when the bamas are prohibited, there's no need for sanctifying it in kli. Hoil b'shas heter bamas. Since when the bamas were permitted, craven below kedushas kli was done without a kli. Kidamon la'el. The malan gabi selam mishum davi hakrava bamas yachid b'shas heter bamas mechayva b'shas isra. Bifnim imala lo yerid. Because if you offered it inside, you wouldn't take it down. Minayin la yotzeim ala lo yerid sharei yotzei kosher b'mama. Now that's the Tanakh that held that they did offer nesachim in the Mishkan in the 40 years in the desert. Rabbi Elazar Shavar lo kirvin nesachim b'midbar. Ubias haaretz, when it says ki savol haaretz ha'amar ben chach lach Yerusha v'yeshiva, it's after they moved the Mishkan to Shiloh. La'achar shekavu Mishkan b'Shiloh. Din ischayvu. Then there's a chiyuv of wine libations. Leficha chutzrecha bias haaretz lichtov mishum shekol arboim shanish v'midbar lo kivru b'Mishkan. That's because in the 40 years in the desert they didn't offer wine libations. Now, when it says kisavol arts, because of l'chayvu b'shilo beisolamim, and not in the 14 years b'shas kibush v'achila b'bamas aktonas, where they were offering on a private bama. Hilkach loy karvan esachim b'bama ktana. You didn't offer wine libations when you offered a donative korban in your private bama. Sheet shelo b'klisharis. V'yaskinu b'shein mukdashim b'chutz lo mechayv alayim. V'chanavi amin l'kam and demand the boy to just sleep in the sachim so for lo kirvin the sachim, but they go hand in hand. Ravina Amar, back to the Gemara, b'lamedi nisach hamayim nisach hayan pligi. The machlokas is whether you learn nisach hamayim from nisach hayan. Ton Rabban. If you pour 3 lug on a natzah mizbech, you're chayiv kores. You have to put it in a kli sharts. My binayu. Where you have to, when it overflows, when it goes higher than the kli, is it miskadesh or not? Rava Breder Rava Amar Karvan Nesach B'Bamayki Binayu. The same achlokas we just went through. Were they makriv wine libations at a bama? Ube pluk to dan tanoi. The Tanya bamas yachid ain't a tzrich nesachim. You did not need to pour wine libations on a private bama. They were Rebbe. The chachamim are mitun in nesachim. V'hani tanoi kani tanoi. That machlokas tanoim is like the other machlokas tanoim. The Tanya. Ki savo la'atina nesachim b'bama gdola kosim b'daber. That in the midbar, they did not offer wine libations when they brought certain korbanos in the Mishkan. But now when they come into Eretz Yisrael, the Mishkan is put in Shiloh, now they have to bring wine libations. Maybe when it says kisavo, it refers to the need to offer wine libations even in a private bama. So the Gemara says, Kishu oimer eletz moshvo seichem asher ani nosein lachem. Hare bebama hanoeges b'chul hakosim b'daber. This is a communal bama, which was in the Mishkan only, not the bamas yachid. Did Rabbi Shmuel. Rabbi Kiva omer kisavo latina nesachim b'bama ktana hakosim b'daber. The commandment v'chisavo is to teach me that you bring wine libations on a private bama when you came into the land. Maybe it only refers to the Bama Gdoila in the Mishkan. Wherever you live. So the machlokes between Rebbe and the Chachamim is the same machlokes between Rabbi Shmuel and Rabbi Kiva. Now, Kishatim Tzolom the Rabbi Shmuel, Lo Kirin Nesachim B'Midbar, comes out, according to Rabbi Shmuel, they did not offer wine libations in the midbar, and the v'chisavo was to establish a nichiyuv. But l'divrei Rabbi Kiva, they were always offering wine libations in the Mishkan. And now, the new halacha, when it says kisavo, is to tell you that you're supposed to put wine libations on a bama yachid. So the Rabbi Kiva karvin esachim, and therefore, in the 40 years in the midbar, they did offer wine libations in the Mishkan. Rav Nechemia Oimer, Shiari Adam Shakrim B'chutzchai. If you collected blood in a kli and you offered on the regular mizbech, and now you have shirayim, you have remnants left in the kli. Now, if you offer that on an outside mizbech, according to Rav Nechemia, you're chayav kares. On Rav Nachman, Tan Rav Nechemia K'divrei Oimer Shirayim Akvin. Rav Nechemia is learning that if you don't pour the shiraim on the yesod, the korban is not sufficient. So therefore, since you have to pour it on an inside mizbech, by pouring it on the outside mizbech, you're chayv kares. However, meisvei, they ask a kasha on Rabbi Yochanan. Rav Nechemia Omer sheri adam shikrim v'chutz chayv. The remnant blood that was makriv outside your chayv. Amar Rabbi Kiva. They are not la'akev. They're not required. You get atonement with the first rika. So why should you be chayiv by pouring the shiraim on an outside mizbech? Amar lo, evorim uptorn yochichu. The limbs and the innards. Now, when we offer any korban, once you do the Zrika Saddam, you have atonement. You don't need to put the Evorim Updorim on the Mizbeach. So even though you don't need to do it, Shein Shari Mitzvah, V'makrim B'chutz Chayiv. Yet if you offer those on an outside Mizbeach, you're Chayiv. So I'm learning the same thing. Even though the Shirayim might not be Mi'akev, just like the Evorim Updorim. Amar lo. Imam Peivorim Updorim Shein Tchilas Avoida. when you put the Evorim Ptorim up, that's an independent new avoda. Pouring the shirayim is second stage. First, you did the zrika, any blood that remains is the Evorim Ptorim. Now, v'misa, if it's true that Rav Nechemia holds that if you don't pour the shirayim, you have not gotten kapara. Lemalei, he just should have said simply to Rabbi Kiva, Hanami Makvi. The shirayim are marking. He doesn't. So he doesn't give that answer. Must be Rav Nechemia does not hold that you must pour the shirayim. So tiyufta. So it's a kasha Rav Yochanan. Okay. This issue of whether pouring the shirayim is ma'akev is only regarding the chatos that you do on the inside, like paralam davar shel tzibur. So there, some people hold pouring the shari adam on the outside mizbeach is ma'akev. Some say it's not. Everybody holds that for the outer korbanos, after you do the original zrika, pouring the shirayim is only sort of a remnant. And kikom Rav Nechemia b'shirayim apnimim. Rav Nechemia, when he said that you're chayiv kores for pouring the shirayim on an outside mizbech, that's only inner chatos. And kitan yahi b'shirayim achitzoinim. So Rav Yochanan was correct. If we're talking about the chatos apnimios, name alay, let Rav Nechemia say to Rav Akiva, ki amriane b'fninim. I'm talking about inner chatos. But he didn't say that. So must be Rav Nechemia doesn't make a distinction between the two. So it comes out that Rav Nechemia seems to hold that pouring the shirayim, both of chatos that are offered in the heichel and offered on the outside, is ma'akev. So why didn't Rav Nechemia give that as an answer? So lidvor of Rabbi Kiva Kamar, he was responding as per Rabbi Kiva, who doesn't hold that pouring the shirayim is ma'akev. He himself holds that it's ma'akev. Mishnah. Hamoylek es ha'oif bifnim. So you have a bird korban. You did malika in the azara, and then you offered it outside on an external mizbech. Hela b'chutz chayv kares. Now molak b'chutz, you did malika of a bird outside. Vehela b'chutz potter, because it's not valid if you do malika outside. It's an nevela outside. So you can't, it would not be roy to be burned on an inside mizbeach. So certainly you don't get course by burning it on the outside mizbeach. Hashoichet es ha'of bifnim ve'ela b'chutz potter. Now you killed the bird, both chatas ha'of and also off, not through shchita, through malika. So if you shechted a bird, it would not be valid to be put on the inner mizbeach. So if you offered on the outer mizbeach, you're potter from koretz. Shochat bachutz. Now, outside of the base of Migdash, how do we eat a chicken? We shecht it. You can't do malik. If you did malik outside the base of Migdash, it would be treif. So shochat bachutz is a normal way of processing a bird, of killing a bird outside. Now, hela bachutz chayiv. Now, if you offered it on an outside mizbech, if you shechted it outside, you'd be chayiv. It's xeris hakosher from a pasuk. The Gemara will tell us. Nimtza derech hechsher bifnim tur bachutz. If you did malika, which is the normal way of being machshel the bird inside, but you did malika outside, you were potter from kores. Now derech hechsher mi bachutz, the normal way of killing a bird outside, which is shchita p'tur bifnim. You would not be qualified to offer that on an inside mizbeach. Reb Shimon Oimer, kol shechayav navo b'chutz. If you're chayiv for putting it on a mizbeach outside, chayav al kayotzu b'bifnim she'ela b'chutz. Then you're chayiv if you did that avoda in the mizbeach, in the Beis Hamikdash, which you later offered outside. Chutz min hashoichet bifnim umala b'chutz. Shechting on the inside and offering it outside, you're potter. So the Gemara says, why do you describe shchita of the bird hayach sheiro? It's chiyuvahu. It's not, doesn't make it kosher. So, but it makes him chayiv if you offer it on an outside mizbeach. Reb Shimon Oimer ahecha koi. What part of the Mishnah is Reb Shimon going? Ahecha koi. Ile ma reisha koi. What did the reisha say? Hamoilek oif bifnim ve'ela b'chutz chayiv. You did malik on a bird inside. You offered it outside. You're chayiv kores. And then it said molach b'chutz ve'ela b'chutz potter. But if you did the malika outside, which makes it a nevela, so you're not chayiv kores if you put it on a mizbeach. Comes Reb Shimon, varmalei Reb Shimon. Kihechi difnim mechayiv. Just like if you did malika inside and offered it outside, you'd be chayiv. B'chutz nami mechayiv. He held that if you did malika outside, it also made you chayiv if you put it on the outside mizbeach. But then the Gemara didn't write it properly. Why would it say "Hi kol shechayav alav b'chutz"? It would say "Kol shechayav alav bifnim meboile." Ella must be that Reb Shimon is commenting on the following: Ki hechid b'chutz lo mechayiv. If you did malika outside, you're potter. Right, you're not mechayiv. Of course, bifnim nami lo mechayiv. Then if you did malika inside and you offered it up outside, also not chayiv. But then it should have said, "Ha kol she'en chayav l'vachutz meboile." Okay, maybe Reb Shimon is not referring at all to the ratio, but he was referring to the sefer. Ela sefer kol. Hashoichet oif bifnim. You shechted a bird inside, which you're not supposed to do. You're supposed to do malika. Ve'ela b'chutz potter. Since it's not the appropriate way of dispatching the bird by putting it on the outside of his back, you're not chayiv. And then it said shochat b'chutz. If you did shchita b'chutz, ve'ela b'chutz chayiv. V'omer le Reb Shimon. What do you mean? Ki heichid b'fnim lo mechayiv. If you did shchita on a bird inside, you would not be chayiv. B'chutz nami lo mechayiv. But if that's what he's saying, he should have worded it "Hai kol she'en chayavim meboile." Ella ki heichid b'chutz mechayiv. Just if you did shchita on a bird and you offered it up outside, you're chayiv b'fnim nami mechayiv. Maybe it's not just malika that would make you chayiv. Maybe even if you did shchita inside, you'd be chayiv. But haktani chutz min hashoichet b'fnun v'mala b'chutz. There's a clear exemption for that process mentioned in the Mishnah. Amr Zahiri, shchitas be'ema b'layla ikbinayu. Not a bird, but shechting an animal at night is the difference. V'achi kama. V'chein. Hashoichet be'ema b'fnim b'layla. Now you're not supposed to shecht at night. The shechita is supposed to be done in the day. Therefore, it's not a valid korban. Therefore, if you take it outside, hela b'chutz potter. However, shochat b'chutz b'layla. Now, you can do shechita at night if it's not a korban, and therefore hela b'chutz chayiv. Reb Shimon Omer kol shechayavna b'chutz, and in response, Reb Shimon says, whenever you chayav outside, chayavna kayotzu bo b'fnim vela b'chutz. Chutz min ha-shoichet oif b'fnim vela b'chutz. That works. Rava Omar, the nafkamina between the Tanakam and Reb Shimon is Kabbalah b'kli chol ekabinai. When the blood was collected, not in a kli sharetz, but a kli chol. V'hachi kamer. Ha-mekabel b'kli chol b'fnim. You shechted an animal and you accepted it in a kli chol, inside. Vela b'chutz potter, because it wasn't put in a kli sharetz. Ha-mekabel b'kli chol b'chutz. If you shechted outside, it was makabel in a not kli sharetz. Vela b'chutz chayiv. Reb Shimon Omer kol shechayavna b'chutz. When anytime you're chayiv outside, chayavna kayotzu bo b'fnim vela b'chutz. If you did that avoda inside and you put it on a mizbech outside, you'd be chayiv. Chutz min ha-shoichet of b'fnim vela b'chutz. So that works too. Hashta the Tani Avuda Shmuel bar Rav Yitzchak. The father of Shmuel taught hamoilek oif b'fnim. He did malik of a bird inside. Vela b'chutz chayiv. Molek b'chutz vela b'chutz potter. He did malik outside, which makes it a nevela, and offered up on his back its potter. But Reb Shimon mechayiv, even though the malika was done outside, and Reb Shimon osam koi. Utni kol shechayav lo bifnim. He's going on his general principle. Whenever you chayiv inside and you're chayiv for malika, vela b'chutz chayav lo b'chutz. That's Reb Shimon's answer. Mishnah. Chata shekibel dama b'kol sechot. You receive the blood of a chatas in one kli. Nasan b'chutz, and you first did zrik of the dam on the mizbech outside, and then v'chazer v'nasan b'fnim, and then you came inside and put it on the mizbech inside, or you put some b'fnim v'chazer v'nasan b'chutz. Chayiv. Your chayiv kores for what you did outside. Shekula roy b'fnim. All of that blood could have been offered on the mizbech inside. Kibel dama b'shtei kosos. But let's say you received the blood in 2 cups. Nosan shnei b'fnim potter. Well, you're not chayiv for offering on an outside mizbech because you didn't offer it on the outside mizbech. If you applied shneim b'chutz chayiv, of course you're chayiv because both could have been applied on the mizbech inside. Echad b'fnim v'echad b'chutz potter. You're not chayiv outside if one of them was applied inside, because the second cup becomes nidche, and therefore you're not chayiv if you put it on the outside mizbech. But let's say you started off echad b'chutz. First, you put it on the outside, echad b'fnim. So chayiv alachitzon, because the first one you applied was roi to be put on the mizbech. So you chayiv kores v'apnimi mechaper. And the pnimi one also works because it was not nidche, because you kept it on the inside. Lema davar doime. Lemafrish chatoso. Ruvain ate chaylev, and he was mafresh an animal to be his chatas. The avda, and then he lost the animal. V'hifrish acheres tachteni, and he designated a second animal. And then v'achakach nimtzes harishona v'reishtena. Now he has both animals in front of him. He could offer whichever one he wants. Shochat shtein bifnim potter. Again, we're talking about he didn't shecht anything outside, so he's potter. That's what it's not a chiddush here. Shtein b'chutz chayiv. If he shechted both of them and offered them on or you just shechted them both outside, you're chayiv for shchitas chutz. If he shechted achas bifnim v'achas b'chutz potter, if he first slaughtered the one inside and then the second one outside, you're potter. Because once he slaughtered the first one, that's the one that he got a kapora. The second chatas is a chatas shekipru baleh, and it's lemisa. So it's you can't put it on the mizbech. So if you put it on the mizbech, you're not chayv koris for it. If achas b'chutz v'achas b'fnim, if he shechted the one outside first, and then the inside one, so chayv alechitzon, that was the first one. It's a chatas that was perfectly good on the mizbech, and you chayv a koris for that. V'apnim is mechaperes, and the inside, the shechting the outside one doesn't ruin the other animal, and he needs kapora. Now, Kashem Shadama Poteres Psara. When you do Zrika Sadam, the meat is no longer, you're not Chayv Meila for it, you're allowed to eat it. Kachi Poteres Psara Chaverto. The second animal also is not Chayv Meila. Okay. Tomorrow, we will learn at 7 o'clock.